The paint was already seeping through the glass frame when I walked into my parents' living room that Saturday afternoon. My nephew Tyler, all 12 years old, stood holding an empty can of bright blue acrylic paint, his face a mixture of pride and nervousness. The medical degree I'd earned after 8 years of grueling work, 4 years of undergraduate studies, 4 years of medical school, countless nights studying, thousands of hours of clinical rotations, hung crooked on the wall, completely ruined. The ornate script of my name was barely visible beneath the streaks of blue. What happened? I asked calmly, setting down the bakery box I'd brought for dessert. My voice was steady though my hands wanted to shake. Tyler glanced at his father, my older brother Marcus, who leaned against the doorframe with his arms crossed and a satisfied expression on his face. Uncle Marcus said doctors are just losers who think they're better than everyone else. He said your degree doesn't mean anything. He said it was just expensive wallpaper. I turned to Marcus. He shrugged, not even bothering to hide his smirk. Come on, David. It's just a piece of paper. You can print another one for, what, $20? Besides, Tyler's right. You walk around here acting like you're something special because you went to medical school. Newsflash. You're still the same kid who couldn't make the basketball team. My mother emerged from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a towel. She glanced at the ruined diploma and sighed. Marcus, that was inappropriate. David worked hard for that. Oh please, Mom. He's a resident. He makes less than I do in sales and I didn't need 8 years of school. Face it, David made a bad investment. My father didn't even look up from his newspaper. Your brother has a point. All that debt for what? You're 32 and still living in that cramped apartment. I pulled out my phone and took several photos of the damage. Of Tyler still holding the paint can, of Marcus's satisfied expression. I need to go. I have some emails to send. See? Marcus laughed. Always running away. Can't even stand up for yourself. I didn't respond. I simply walked to my car, got in and drove home. That evening I sat at my laptop and composed 2 carefully worded emails. The first went to Jennifer Hartley, Director of Human Resources at St. Catherine's Medical Center. The second went to Dr. Patricia Morrison, Chair of the Hospital Board. I attached the photos, provided a detailed account of the incident, and referenced the hospital's Code of Conduct policy regarding workplace harassment and professional ethics. Marcus didn't know it yet, but his sales position was at St. Catherine's Medical Center. He worked in the Pharmaceutical Liaison Department, selling medical equipment and supplies to various departments. It was a good job with excellent commission potential. He also didn't know that 3 months ago, I'd been promoted from chief resident to deputy chief of medicine. The announcement hadn't been made public yet because I'd requested a delay. I wanted to finish my current rotation without the politics that came with the title. Only the board, the hospital administrator and the department heads knew. Marcus had spent the last 5 years bragging about his sales numbers, his commission checks, his company car. He'd introduced me at family gatherings as my little brother, still in training. He'd made jokes about my income, my schedule, my student loans. He had no idea that I was now one of the people who approved or denied his sales contracts with the hospital. The following Monday I went to work as usual. My pager went off at 6:15 in the morning. A trauma case in the emergency department needed immediate attention. I spent 3 hours in surgery, then made rounds on my patients, then attended a departmental meeting. At 2 o'clock my office phone rang. Jennifer Hartley. Dr. Morrison and I received your email, she said. We need to discuss this matter. Can you come to the administration building at 4? I'll be there. The meeting lasted 30 minutes. I presented the facts calmly and professionally, walking them through the timeline of events. Jennifer took detailed notes on her tablet. Dr. Morrison asked clarifying questions about the context of Marcus's comments and whether there had been prior incidents. I mentioned several family gatherings where similar remarks had been made, though nothing as overt as this. Hospital policy was clear about employees engaging in conduct that could be perceived as harassment or creating a hostile work environment, even outside of work hours, especially when it involved other hospital employees. The policy had been strengthened 2 years ago after a lawsuit involving off-duty conduct that affected workplace relationships. We'll need to conduct an investigation, Jennifer said, reviewing her notes. This is serious, especially given your position and his role as a vendor liaison. There are potential conflicts of interest here that we need to examine carefully. I understand. I'm not asking for special treatment. I'm simply reporting an incident that I believe violates hospital policy. Dr. Morrison nodded. We appreciate you bringing this to our attention through proper channels. We'll handle it from here. By Wednesday, Marcus had been called into a meeting with his supervisor and HR. He called me that evening, furious. What did you do? They're asking me about some incident at Mom and Dad's house. They're talking about professional conduct violations. I filed a formal complaint, I said calmly. You encouraged your son to destroy my medical degree and made disparaging comments about my profession. I documented it and reported it. Are you insane? You're going to get me fired over a stupid joke. It wasn't a joke, Marcus. You've spent years undermining my career and treating me like I'm inferior. I'm done accepting that behavior. You sanctimonious little. This is exactly why nobody likes you. You can't take a joke, you can't be part of the family without making everything about you and your precious feelings. I hung up. Thursday morning, I received an email from Dr. Morrison. The hospital board had completed its review. They were requesting my presence at a special meeting Friday afternoon to discuss next steps. Marcus's supervisor and Jennifer Hartley would also attend. Friday arrived. I put on my best suit and walked into the conference room at 3 o'clock. Marcus was already there, sitting with his supervisor, a man named Greg Phillips. Jennifer sat at the head of the table with Dr. Morrison. 2 other board members were present via video conference. Marcus glared at me as I entered. This is ridiculous. I'm being dragged through an investigation because my brother can't handle family banter. Greg shifted uncomfortably. Marcus, I'd recommend you let HR and the board handle this discussion. Dr. Morrison opened a folder. We've reviewed the incident report, the photographic evidence, and the statements from both parties. Mr. Hayes, your contract with St. Catherine's includes a professional conduct clause. The behavior described in Dr. Hayes's report constitutes a violation of that clause. Marcus leaned forward. With all due respect, what I do outside of work is my business. David is being vindictive because he's sensitive about his career choices. Dr. Hayes isn't just any employee, Jennifer said quietly, her tone deliberate. He's the deputy chief of medicine. He's part of the hospital's senior leadership team. The room went silent. I could see the exact moment the words registered. Marcus's confident posture crumbled. His face went from flushed with anger to pale with shock. Marcus swallowed. What? Deputy chief? Since when? I was promoted 3 months ago, I said calmly, keeping my hands folded on the table. The announcement was delayed at my request so I could complete my current clinical rotation without administrative distractions. You've been making derogatory comments about my career while I've been in a senior leadership position at the same institution that employs you, the same institution that approves your sales contracts and evaluates vendor relationships. Greg closed his eyes. Marcus, why didn't you tell me your brother worked here? I didn't think it mattered. He's just a resident, I thought. Marcus stopped. Deputy Chief of Medicine? Dr. Morrison continued. The board takes professional conduct very seriously, especially when it involves senior medical staff. Your comments about Dr. Hayes's credentials and profession, made in front of a minor whom you encouraged to destroy hospital-related property, demonstrate a fundamental lack of respect for the medical professionals you're supposed to be partnering with. Hospital-related property? Marcus asked weakly. The medical degree that was destroyed belongs to a member of our senior leadership team, Jennifer explained. That makes this a matter of hospital concern, particularly given that your role requires you to work directly with our medical departments. Greg spoke up. I think we need to discuss Marcus's future with the liaison program. If he can't demonstrate respect for our medical staff, including his own brother, how can we trust him to maintain professional relationships with other physicians? Marcus turned to me. David, come on. This is going too far. It was just Tyler being a kid. I'll pay for a replacement diploma. I'll apologize. You told your 12-year-old son that doctors are losers, I said quietly. You've spent 5 years treating my career as a joke. You stood there and watched him destroy something I earned through 8 years of work and you smiled about it. This isn't about the diploma, Marcus. This is about a pattern of disrespect that I'm no longer willing to tolerate. Dr. Morrison looked at the other board members on the screen. Recommendations. One of them spoke. I move that we terminate Mr. Hayes's contract with St. Catherine's effective immediately. This behavior is incompatible with our institutional values. Seconded, the other board member said. Greg nodded slowly. I'll support that recommendation. Marcus stood up abruptly. You're firing me? Over this. You're being terminated for violating your professional conduct agreement, Jennifer said. You'll receive 2 weeks severance as outlined in your contract. Your building access will be revoked as of 5 o'clock today. Marcus looked at me desperately. David, please. I've got a mortgage. Tyler's in private school. You can't do this to me. I didn't do this to you, I said. You did this to yourself. I simply reported what happened. The vote is unanimous, Dr. Morrison announced. Mr. Hayes, your employment with St. Catherine's Medical Center is terminated. You'll need to return all hospital property and complete your exit paperwork with HR. Marcus grabbed his briefcase and stormed toward the door. He stopped and turned back to me. You're really going to destroy my career over a childhood rivalry? This isn't a rivalry, I said calmly. This is a consequence. You taught your son that disrespecting people has no price. Now he gets to learn a different lesson. After Marcus left, Greg apologized profusely. If I'd known about the family connection and his attitude toward medical staff, I never would have brought him into the liaison program. It's not your fault, I told him. He's very good at presenting a professional image when it serves him. Dr. Morrison walked me out of the conference room. I know this wasn't easy, Dr. Hayes. But the board stands behind you completely. Professional respect is foundational to everything we do here. Thank you. I just want to focus on my work. That evening my mother called. She'd heard from Marcus about what happened. David, honey, I know your brother was wrong, but did you have to get him fired? The whole family is upset. Mom, he encouraged his son to vandalize my medical degree and then mocked my entire career while I stood there. What did you expect me to do? I expected you to be the bigger person. You know how Marcus is. He's always been competitive. Being competitive doesn't excuse being cruel. And it definitely doesn't excuse teaching Tyler that behavior. My father got on the line. Your brother has a family to support. You make good money now, apparently. You'll be fine. Marcus needs that job. He should have thought about that before treating me like garbage for 5 years. I hung up before the conversation could continue. Monday morning I walked into the hospital at 6:30. My new office had been ready for 2 weeks, but I'd been avoiding the move. Today seemed like the right time. The nameplate on the door read, Dr. David Hayes, Deputy Chief of Medicine. My assistant, Margaret, had already arranged my books on the shelves and set up my computer. The ruined diploma was gone, but I'd already ordered a replacement. This one would hang in my office where it belonged. At 9 o'clock, I had my first departmental leadership meeting in my official capacity. At noon, I reviewed surgical protocols with the chief of surgery. At 3, I met with a family whose mother was in intensive care. My phone buzzed with texts from Marcus throughout the day. Angry messages, pleading messages, messages calling me vindictive and cruel. I blocked his number. By the end of the week, the hospital had issued a formal announcement about my promotion. Congratulations poured in from colleagues, former professors, and friends from medical school. Some people were surprised I'd kept it quiet for so long. The truth was simple. I'd wanted to prove myself in the role before dealing with the politics of the title. I wanted to make sure I earned respect through my work, not through my position. Marcus had assumed I was still struggling, still junior, still less successful than him. He'd built his ego on that assumption. He was wrong. 2 weeks later, I received a letter from Tyler. It was handwritten, clearly written under duress, apologizing for ruining my diploma. There was a postscript in different handwriting, Marcus's writing. I hope you're happy. We had to pull Tyler from private school. I didn't respond. I framed the letter and hung it next to my new diploma, not as a trophy but as a reminder. Some people spend their lives tearing others down to feel bigger. Some people enable that behavior because it's easier than confronting it. And some people, like me, eventually decide that being the bigger person doesn't mean accepting disrespect. It means holding people accountable for their choices. Marcus taught Tyler that actions have no consequences. I taught him something different. Whether Tyler learns that lesson or not isn't my responsibility anymore. I have patients to care for, a department to help lead, and a career I'm proud of. The paint-stained diploma is gone. But the work it represented? That's still here. That's still mine. And nobody can take that away.